A little tone for our sunrise. Good morning. 8 brocades in the 8 directions. That's where we find ourselves this morning. 8 is a powerful and an auspicious number when it comes to the origins of this Qigong and Chinese medicine as a whole. Many of the theories and practices arise from some ancient teachings that revolve around understanding of the transformations that take place in nature, going from one season to the next, going from one state of matter to the next, going from one part of life into the next segment of life. And this oracle was called the I Ching. Here's a book that I find a lot of value in the wisdom in the text, but I get it out to show you the map or the compass that really demonstrates why 8s are so powerful, so important. Let's see the 8 directions, this 8-sided polygon, as well as those 8 trigrams, these symbols made out of a collection of broken or solid lines, and the resulting possibilities are 8 in that realm of broken or non-broken. And so yin and yang, that is to say the earth energy and the heavenly solar celestial energy, represent the 2 different lines, earth being the broken line, heaven being the solid line. With this 8 being the full expression of transformation and cycle, we have this wonderful Qigong set called the 8 brocades that gives us the opportunity to go through each organ, to go through each expression of each of the trigrams in 8 succinct little gems, little sets of movements. And we'll also, following the 8 brocades, go through the 8 directions, another powerful representation of 8. And it takes us through experiencing our Qi moving through all 8 directions that are possible. We start by giving ourselves a little bit of a warm-up first, and I'm feeling like warming up the spine feels most appropriate. I get myself in a little bit of a Wuji posture. Outside edges of my feet are parallel, a nice soft knee. Opening of the sacrum, my shoulders roll back and down, a nice long neck. Tucking my chin, my elbows kick out, leaving space between my arms and my torso for the Qi to flow all the way down to the fingertips. And I'll just notice. And before going right into pivoting around the spine, I want to feel a little bit more grounded. I want to feel a little more connected. I want to feel a little more secured and supported for this Qigong. I immediately bring my awareness to my feet and I start to melt them. Melt these feet like they're frozen ice cubes on a hot sidewalk, and they just melt and melt and melt into these great pools. My pools of feet that then easily grow these roots that reach down through the foundation, reach down into the dirt, through the earth's crust, reaching in towards the earth's core. They reach and reach and reach and lengthen. As they do so, the earth, she responds to that reaching and that interaction, and this golden vibration rises up the roots, rises up through my legs, rises up into my pelvis, into my torso, even down into my arms, feeling me full of this golden energy. At the top of my head, a little portal opens, and silver light shines out from the top of my head out into the universe at large. The sun, the moon, the stars, the galaxies, they all respond and twinkle down along that silver light through the top of my head and in through the rest that golden vibration mixing and filling and twinkling all the way down into my roots. I then feel and imagine this golden light start to circle around me, creating this buffer between myself and anything that might be distracting or might detract from my energy. Creates this wonderful filter of kindness and benevolence, just wraps around and warms, starts to fill this space that I'm in, feeling it all the way to the walls as I inhale and exhale and feel rooted and feel connected above. Feel this golden wrap, this golden envelope spread out even further like a great sphere around me, maybe past the walls, maybe past the building. Feel protected inside of this kind and benevolent protected space. Good, now I feel ready to just pivot around my spine, letting my arms just drift at the sides. And the momentum to generate itself, not trying to go at a specific pace. Letting my arms start to slowly drift up my torso. Now patting my kidneys, that low back. This gentle nudge to keep waking up. Outside my arms, the low parts of the ribs, the back, getting some nice taps. Getting even the top of the shoulder, the base of the neck. Warming up the organs, they get a nice wring out like a rag. Sometimes a fluttering of the lips or a nice big sigh is called for with this release. Coming back to that neutral place in your feet. Coming to a quietness. Here we pull down the heavens. We just gather the chi that's around using our hands like little scoops. We just scoop the chi, scooping it up over the head, gathering it together, and then pouring it right down over the body, even through the body. Relaxing, letting go of tension, melting it down through the roots. And our scoops just gather the chi that's around, accumulating it overhead and pouring it down through the body, the head, the neck, torso, the legs, melting. Third time. And pouring. Now the nice thing about the 8 brocades is it takes us through all of the organs, takes us through all of the sections of the torso, and really allows us to saturate and regenerate and regulate. But I really feel a lot of emphasis on drawing up through the legs and feeling that strong, stable foundation through the knees, the feet, the toes. And so I want to bring a little bit of warm up to these lower joints before we jump right in. So bring the feet together. Inhale, allow the arms to come up over the head, keeping the shoulders relaxed down the back. Exhale, bending the knees slightly, stooping at the waist slightly, and just bringing the fingertips to rest on the thighs right above the knees. We're not leaning, we're just touching. All right, with our core engaged, keeping us nice and upright. This is as far forward as we want to go with our knees. We want to do some knee circles. So we start by circling to the right as we inhale, coming back and extending the circle forward for 1. We'll do it 3 times in each direction. 2, 3. And we'll switch directions. Switching again, we inhale. Exhaling to go in the opposite direction. Feeling and hearing the crunchies, popping, and embracing them. Those are good sounds. A release of stagnation that allows flow to be where it was not previously. Exhaling. Feel it even in the hips, sacrum. Standing up. Feeling nice and tall at the top of the head, opening back into Ujjayi posture. And let's do another set of pulling down heavens. This time, remembering our roots. They reach very far down into the earth, reaching towards the earth's core. And that we're still connected through that silver light, letting all that twinkly starlight, galaxy light shine down into our body. Good. We grow our fingers real long. We dig them deep into the earth, grabbing onto all that earth energy, this golden light, this golden elixir that fills our hands. And as we come up towards the head, we start to gather that silver light. All that twinkly, sparkly silver light gathers with all the golden earth energy. You combine them together, just melt it through our whole torso, pelvis, legs, feet. 2 more times. Gathering both of those types of energy, feeling them commingle and just melt through your whole body. Third one, we feel super grounded, we feel super present, ready to dive into our 8 brocades. The first gem, warm and clear and saturate the whole torso, all 3 of the burners, 3 sections of the torso. Bend the knees slightly, gathering chi, we lift. Inhaling, we rise that chi up, lifting it with the palms coming up to the tops of the shoulders, coming underneath that chi to press it over the head and out the top of the head. We complete our inhale. Exhale, we stretch that energy that we just filled up with, pulled out the top of our head. We stretch it around us like a great bubble on exhale. Fingertips touching the inside of that bubble. Gather again, lifting. Inhaling to rise, pressing up and out the head. Finish the inhale and exhaling, stretching it out. Gathering, lifting. To press. Being full of breath and exhaling. Nice. Number 4 takes us halfway. Looking up. You're full of breath, exhaling. Feeling your fingers lengthen, spreading your bubble out even bigger with each succession. Stay in a fluid place as you fill and as you raise. Pay attention to the joints and don't let them lock out. No locked knees, no clenched butt. The bend to come underneath to really get that press. Stay very present with this. Some more. The shoulder blades melt down the back as the arms get very long. Last one. Each of our beautiful gems in this April caves. We do one pulling down heavens cleanse. Gather the ambient chi that's around. Pull it right down through the head, through the torso, through the legs. Releasing any exhaustion out. Next. 4 stance is what we need for our second gem. And usually we can pivot on the heels, pivot on the toes, pivot on the heels to get into our loopy posture. There's another way that we can get there that allows us to really emphasize our roots while still stepping out to get into that wider stance. We do it by creating kind of a jar of chi. So on one side, I'm going to take that same side hand and I'm going to grab the base of this jar. I'm going to take my opposite hand and come on top of that jar and hold it closed. As I do that, I have all my weight into this one side, this one leg, making it easy to step out, even just a little bit. And then drop that chi in that jar off in the middle, letting it go. I can come to the opposite side and grab the base of that jar and hold the lid closed. And feel all of my weight, all of my emphasis going down to the roots on that same side leg so that it's easy for me to step out a little further. In order to step out, I'll notice that I'll hold my leg up and then I need to sink in order to get that distance. From here, I can take my jar back to the middle, stand fully in my stance, and drop the chi off. As I've done it, I've stepped a little bit back, so I'll pull myself just an inch or so forward with that left side toes, and now my core stance is set. Now you can have your toes facing forward with the parallelity happening for the edges of the feet, or you can have them a little bit more out, which makes it a little easier to sit down deeper in the stance. But either of these is helpful. I'm feeling the wider stance actually feels a little bit more supportive, especially for the sacrum and in keeping the quad open. So inhale, allow the arms to come out to the sides. You exhale and we cross those arms at the wrists right in front of the heart, giving us an inside arm and an outside arm. Our inside arm traces along the inside of the outside arm as we inhale. As we do so, we rotate the wrist, facing the palm away. And that gliding hand becomes the bow out to the left side, while the right hand pulls that string across the chest, notching it in place at the same side of shoulder. Keep our eyes looking down the arm and through the sight that we create with our forefinger and thumb. Exhaling to sink into the knees, sink into the pose. We rise up as we inhale to transition. The right hand now glides along the inside of the left arm. Right arm becoming the bow hold. The left arm pulls the bowstring across the chest to the left shoulder. We exhale and sink. Inhale the transition. Pulling across the chest, keeping the shoulders relaxed and down while keeping a nice straight line across the top of the shoulders. Settling into the knees for the exhale. Transitioning on the inhale, rising. Way. Following your breath, trying to have a nice full and complete breath. If you find that your breath is a little too shallow or a little too short for as long as this movement is requiring, take multiple breaths. Allow the smoothness of your chi flow to be the key, rather than to sync up with how fast the breath might be. Case with that shorter breath, you may find that in this transition, in this one inhale transition, it may be an inhale to exhale, to inhale to exhale. You might have 2 breaths happen in that whole cycle right there. That's okay. It's more appropriate than rushing it and trying to make it look right and match the breath. The smoothness is really the key. Feeling that completeness of what we're creating. Inhaling, crossing the wrists in front of the chest. Taking the palms and pressing down the torso, out the feet. Do our same maneuver to come back. Come over to one side and gather that jar, lifting it from the base, closing off the top. And then we can weight all of our weight on that one leg and bring the other in. One step, dropping off the chi. Grab the container on the other side, hold it, and lift that leg up. Put it back in Wuji posture, drop off the chi. Pull down the heavens. Good, our third gem has us back in our Wuji posture. This time, we're pressing into the earth and out into the heavens simultaneously, giving our digestion, our stomach, and our spleen a lot of reinforcement for the appropriate directions that they take. Inhale, lifting the chi up to the level of the diaphragm. Our hands split direction. We have one that pronates and pushes down on top of a bubble of the water, while the other one continues up, always keeping the palm facing up, so the fingers must rotate out and around in order to go over the head. Pressing in both directions. We pivot the wrists so that the palms are facing in opposite directions to inhale and transition. We allow that transition to take place right in front of the torso, right in front of the diaphragm. Inhale and transition. Engaging the core in order to push up and push down at the same time. What that means is pulling in all directions with the torso, pulling in with the stomach, but also pulling in with the ribs, pulling it back into the center, feeling yourself in the middle of the foundation of your feet, pivoting the hands, inhaling, switch. Press. Feel myself extending my arms a little more than I really want. I want to keep them bent so I can really feel the engagement of that chi. Switching. Especially this lower one. I want to extend it all the way. There we go. Positioning. And we have one more. Then we gather the chi back a little bit to the level of the diaphragm, gather in a little ball. Then we push that ball into the torso and wash it down the front of the body, down the front of the legs, top of the feet, out the toes. Pull down the heavens. Gathering and melting, dripping. And not serving us goes right out the feet into the earth. Fourth gem, stay in our Wuji posture. This time we're opening and closing the middle channels that run up and down the front and the back. We gather chi again, lifting it to the level of the navel, where we turn it over and press down as if pressing on a shelf, on a countertop to grow nice and tall through the top of the head. Our palms are nice and flat on that countertop. And we exhale and fan the fingers around the legs, trying to aim at one another behind the body. And we take the chin to one shoulder. We come back to neutral before inhaling, bringing the fingers, the hands in front. We inhale by gathering, pressing, growing nice and tall. We exhale, keeping the palms flat, opening front torso, closing spine, keeping the palms flat. We're breathless as we come to the neutral, inhaling to gather and lift. Exhaling to open the chest, bring the chin to the shoulder. Keeping the knees unlocked, keeping the butt relaxed. Neutral. Breathless to come to neutral, then we inhale to grow tall, and exhale to open. So our halfway, we'll do 4 more of these. Feeling my core, not letting my tailbone stick out. I want to be a happy dog. Remembering to keep my palms nice and flat to the earth. Last one. Go and pull down the heavens. For our 5th gem, we need our horse stance again. Let's go ahead and use our pivot for this one. We'll go ahead and pivot on the toes, pivot on the heels. And we're in a pretty good stance already right there. I think generally we pivot on the heels first, then the toes, then the heels again to get a little wider. But that seems to be wide enough for where we're going and what we're doing. The hands stay nice and quiet on the thighs. They do not turn into stilts that we lean on. Don't want to be pressing. You want them nice and quiet. The sides. So all of the movement is really happening in the center of gravity, and the lines that we're making come from the leg through the torso to the ear on either side. This is how we support the kidneys. We're coming up the kidney channels, if you're familiar with where those are, and can notice and feel them come all the way up to the collarbones. They're a wonderful place to put the focus. We bend the knees, stooping slightly as we come to one side, inhaling, lengthening, feeling that lengthen through the waist, up all the way through the neck to the ear, exhaling to feel that whole line. Coming to the other side, we're inhaling, lengthening, bringing our focus to feel an alignment take place. Then exhaling to experience that alignment. Switching. Inhaling to come across and lengthen. Once we've established that full line all the way to the ear, we exhale and feel it from the arch of the foot to the ear. Switch. We might start to notice our low back, maybe the parts of the pelvis. We notice the kidneys switch, base of the ribs. Achiness might start to take over. Have some appreciation for those signs and symptoms that just show up, especially when you're in the middle of your Qigong. It's communication from your body. Switch. Get in the habit of appreciating what our body has to tell us. How we start to ease resistance, start to get back in flow with the design of our body. One more each side. Trust. Build that trust in our body and with our body. All of that information that it's giving us, switching, all of that communication opportunity becomes super valuable. There's meaning in all of those little subtle sensations, subtle movements, especially the ones that repeat. Good. Inhaling to come to the neutral place in between. And exhaling, just feeling ourselves kind of sink through the feet. Go ahead and pivot on the heels, pivot on the toes, and come back into Wuji posture. Pull down the heavens. And we're ready for our most dynamic gem of all 8 of these. And this one has us bending down at the hips and trying to keep the hamstrings and the backs of the knees nice and straight as we do so, while exhaling and kind of descending with exhausted chi. And then we'll bend our knees as we're down low, and we'll gather the chi of the earth to kind of paint up the insides of the legs and paint around the torso to press into the kidneys in the back. So it's a nice filling and releasing exercise, the one that's a little bit more involved. The first thing we need to do is gather a ball of chi and bring it into the torso. Inhaling, we wrap it around the belly, wrapping our hands, pressing into the low back. Keep our chin up as we hinge at the hips, keeping the legs straight, the back straight. We paint the hands down the back, encouraging the release of chi down out the heels, the sides of the feet. We bend the knees as we get down here to the floor, gathering. We paint up the legs as we restack the spine. Shoulder blades roll back, the neck is the last to come up as we wrap the torso and press into the kidneys. Exhaling for 2. Feeling the tailbone stretch. Bending the knees, tucking the chin, rounding the spine to come up, rolling the shoulder blades back. Pressing into the kidneys for our 3rd. Exhaling, keeping it nice and straight in the legs. Keeping the chin out. But as we reach the bottom, we bend the knee, tuck the chin, we curve the spine. Go from straight to curve in order to come up nice and gently. To fill and to press again. Extend for a 4th time. Stretching, straight back, straight leg. Inhaling into curves. Again, listening to your breath. Maybe a full inhale, exhale. get you through this first part. And inhale, exhale as you come back up. That's totally appropriate. That's what your body calls for. Let it have it. 3 more. Feel this really warming and invigorating the torso and the low back. Allow yourself to look a little further back. I'm ready to keep the back and the legs straight. And then curving to stand back up. Tell that you're already enough. Wrapping around, pressing, exhaling. You come up. We rest the hands on the low belly as we finish. Relaxing the shoulder blades down, feeling nice and tall to the top of the head. Pull down the heavens. Our second to last gem, we need our wide horse stance one more time. Our pivoting seemed to work really wonderfully for that. So we get ourselves back out in that nice wide stance with our 45 degree angle with the feet, giving our knees a real ease in being able to bend and still have strong support for the pelvis and the core. So we let ourselves kind of sit down in that horse stance. As we inhale, we allow the hands to come out to the sides. We make soft fists, not clenching, soft fists that we bring around to the front. And as we exhale, we bring those soft fists right into the ribs, kind of locked and loaded and ready to be punched out in front of us. So as we inhale, we allow one fist to come out front, slowly leading out away. And as we get out to our full extension, we exhale and we sink into the knees and pivot the fists at the same time. Now on our inhale, we're going to move both arms at the same time. So that elbow drives back while that other fist comes forward. And that elbow drives all the way back and that fist pivots and punches to its full extension as we sink and exhale. Changing positions, rising up in the knees, exhaling, sinking, extending in both directions, forward and backward. Extend. Inhaling. Rising up, changing positions, extend. More. Say 3 more. This last one. Good, bringing the elbow back. Pressing the hands down the sides of the body, sides of the leg, pressing out the feet. We pivot the feet, coming back into our Wuji posture. Pull down the heavens. Our last gem gives us access to the deep parts of the earth to drop away anything that's left over, that's exhausted, that's stagnant, that's resistant and in the way of the flow. Now we're going to hammer it right through our skeletal system, right out our heels and into the earth. But to protect our joints, we're not going to hammer it and stay. We're going to allow the squishy that we are, our 70 to 90% water body, and all of that squishy in the joints that's designed to be compression discs, abilities to absorb any kind of impact. We're going to use that fluid truth to kind of dictate how our impact on the floor is going to move through our body. That vibration that we create by the impact needs to move and propagate up through the body. So we don't slam down and stop. We hit and let ourselves kind of bounce back up. Or we can get there and need our feet to be in more of a V. This makes our legs into one trunk or one post, or dropping post, the name of this brocade. So we can rise up onto the balls of our feet and pivot the heels in, and then come back down, resting the heels right next to each other. Now we can see the legs are drawn in, creating this one post. So we'll gather chi as we have before, bending the knees. We bring the chi up to the navel, and we come on top again to press like a shelf, but this time we come up onto the balls of our feet. As we exhale, we drop down on the heels, and we let that wave of impact move up through the body. This 7 times. Feeling it come all the way up through the back, through the shoulders, through the neck. For our 8th time, we will bounce 8 times on the floor. Up onto the balls of the feet. Pivoting the heels behind again, we roll, lower back down onto all 4 corners of the feet. Pull down the heavens. Here's our beautiful April cake. Now I promised you 8 directions, so we'll go right into it. 8 directions is also called the golden ball. We'll go through it 3 times. 8 directions are as follows. First, chi gathers. Inhale, gathering chi between the hands, creating a ball of it. Second, chi lifts. Lift that ball of chi up in front of the heart. Third, chi expands. Allow that chi to press the arms away, press the hands out, wide as they'll go. Fourth movement is chi contracts or compresses. Bring that chi back to its original size, holding it between the palms. Fifth, chi moves in. Take that chi ball, bring it right into the heart, into the chest. Sixth movement, chi moves out. You take that ball, place it outside of us, pull it outside of us, we can push it away from us. Give us some space from it, some perspective. Seventh movement is chi moves down or presses down. So we come on top of that chi ball and we press it back down towards its origin, where we gathered it from. The 8th direction is to disperse, to release. So we let go of that chi ball back into the ocean of chi that we collected it from. 8 directions. Inhale to gather. Exhale to lift. Inhale to expand. Exhale to contract. Inhale to move in. Exhale to move out. Inhale to press down. Exhale to release. One more time. Following your breath, go through the directions of your chi. Beautiful. Feels so wonderful. Regulated, filled, supported. Nice, complete experience. Love that about the 8 brocades and 8 directions. Let's take all this ambient chi that we've generated around us and let's put it into the bio battery. Kidneys and the lower dantian are our saturated bio batteries that take us through our day, but also take us day to day, month to month, year to year, take us through our full arc of our life. So the more that we can saturate them and fill them with love and with energy and with life, the longer our arc will take. Using our magic magnet hands, let's gather the chi into a place that's right out from the third eye. Gather it right here, and then drop it into the dantian. Inhaling, feeling that chi in the hands, feeling that collection happen out there in front of the forehead. See it descend, feel it saturate into your belly. Gather again. Send, drip, allow. Final time. Feeling the presence of your power in your seat of confidence. Pelvis. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you all next week.